Listen, imagine a quiet garage in a Seattle suburb in the early 90s. There, a young Jeff Bezos sat at his old computer, surrounded by boxes of books, piles of records, and small stacks of papers that still smelled of fresh printer ink. He dreamed of something big, something that no one had seen before. His idea was simple, almost childish, to create a store where you could buy anything online. You can imagine the soft click of the computer keyboard as he entered the first data, how the world outside the window seemed so far away, and he himself was on the threshold of something incredible. The first orders were small, barely noticeable, but for him it was a real explosion of emotions. Every package that came out of the garage, every envelope with a parcel that went through the mail, was like a small miracle. He understood. This was the beginning of a path that would someday change everything. In those days, everything was on the verge of chaos. There was almost no money, little support, and skeptics said that online stores were a fad. But Jeff did not give up. He saw a picture in his head, a huge online store that would be able to deliver goods to any corner of the planet. The dream was huge, but the resources were tiny. And this is where real magic is born. A small beginning, a big dream, and a heart ready to take risks. It was a moment when nothing was guaranteed, but there was that inner rumble that said, "You're on the right track." That sound wasn't an airplane engine, but the loud whisper of opportunity that pushed forward. And in that garage, the idea for Amazon was born, a place that would one day become synonymous with convenience, innovation, and unstoppable growth. Can you imagine yourself there next to him? How the paper smells, how the boxes rustle, how the world seems so big, and the future is endless. It was from this humble garage that a story began that would one day change the world. And even then, Jeff knew. This was just the beginning, and there would be crises, great challenges, and incredible victories ahead. The first steps were difficult. Day after day, the garage turned into a real chaos. Boxes of books filled the floor, stacks of bills burst from the load, and the phones did not stop for a minute. Jeff and his small team worked without sleep, checking every order, every address, every letter. But despite all the energy, there was always a shortage of money. Investors had doubts. Friends asked why he was doing it. There were several moments when it seemed like everything was going to fall apart. Errors occurred in the ordering system, books were lost in the mail, and a lack of capital threatened to close. Imagine empty warehouses, the silence of the night, only the light of a lamp and the clatter of computer keys. Jeff felt that the whole world was telling him to stop, but in his heart there was an idea, and this idea was stronger than any problems. It is at this moment that real lessons are born. Every crisis became an occasion to understand that the most valuable thing is to believe in your dream. Jeff learned to look for solutions, not excuses. He saw opportunities in mistakes, failures, a chance to change the approach. And the team began to do what seemed impossible: track all orders manually, optimize packaging, come up with new delivery methods. Those were the days when every small achievement was a celebration. The first correct delivery, the first satisfied customer, the first positive feedback. Small victories gave strength to keep going. And even when it seemed that all the doors were closed, Jeff and his team did not lose optimism. They knew, if they could endure these difficulties, tomorrow the world would look completely different. This stage taught them the most important thing. Crisis is not the end, but the fuel for growth. And it was here, in the silence of the night warehouse, that the resilience was born that would one day allow Amazon to become what it is today, a giant capable of changing the rules of the game on a global scale. After the crises were overcome, Amazon began to take the first confident steps forward. From a small garage, the company moved to a modest office, where the first walls, tables, and team meetings appeared. Jeff and his team realized that the dream of a store of everything could become a reality only through scaling and systematicity. Each new day brought small victories: warehouse automation, new packaging processes, the implementation of order tracking programs. The first innovations didn't always work. Sometimes systems broke, sometimes products got lost. But the team learned quickly. Imagine the scenes of late-night meetings, with charts, labels, and laptops strewn across the table, and Jeff loudly saying, "We'll find a solution, and it'll work." These moments were filled with tension, but also with inspiration. They felt like they were becoming part of something bigger. Amazon was no longer just an online bookstore. The company began to expand its catalog: music, videos, toys, electronics. Each new product was like a small step towards a big dream. The team tested different delivery methods, looked for optimal ways to serve customers, and implemented technologies that others considered impossible. It was a moment of transformation, from a chaotic startup to an organized system capable of processing thousands of orders every day. It was here that the understanding was born that success depends not only on the idea, but also on discipline, work, and the ability to adapt quickly. And even in moments when something went wrong, the team knew every mistake is a lesson. Every difficulty is a chance to become stronger. These first steps forward laid the foundation for a great transformation to come. And although the world did not yet know about Amazon, within this small team there was already a burning belief. One day their store would change the rules of the game, and their dreams would cease to be just dreams. After the first steps forward, it was time for big, risky decisions. Amazon was no longer just a small online store. It was beginning to shape new standards of commerce. Jeff and the team understood that in order to grow, you need to act decisively, even if everyone doubts. This was the moment when a small startup turns into a real giant, and the stakes were incredibly high. The launch of Amazon Prime became a symbol of this transformation. Customers received fast delivery, exclusive offers, special service. To competitors, it seemed like a crazy risk. But the team believed, if we could change the rules of the game, customers would stay with us forever. Imagine the huge warehouses, the noisy meetings, the loud discussions of strategies, and the moments when someone boldly says, "This will work," even when the whole world doubts. Crisis always goes hand in hand with growth. The first big investments were scary, competitors were on their heels, but each defeat was a lesson. Jeff learned to see opportunities where others saw problems. He understood that scaling is not just about technology, but also about culture, mindset, and willingness to experiment. It was a time of big symbolic decisions: automating warehouses, using cutting-edge technologies, launching new sales directions. Each new Prime feature, each new service that appeared, was a small breakthrough and at the same time a big challenge. The team experienced excitement, fear, but together they turned risk into strength. And it was here that Amazon finally began to change the face of online commerce. From a small garage company to an organization that sets the standard for millions of customers. It was the turning point when the dream of the everything store became a reality, and the path to global breakthrough was opened. After a major transformation, Amazon was no longer just a store. It was becoming a global force capable of changing the rules of the game around the world. Jeff and his team understood that now was the time to not only grow domestically, but also to go international, to create services that no one had ever imagined before. From a small garage to 1,000 warehouses around the world, the path was insanely fast and at the same time incredibly difficult. The first breakthrough came with the launch of Amazon Web Services, or AWS. It was a bold step into a completely different realm. The company began to provide server power to other businesses, opening up a new market that had once seemed completely foreign. Imagine huge server rooms, where machines hum, lights flicker, and teams monitor thousands of processes simultaneously. It was the moment when technology began to work on ambition and ambition on the world. At the same time, Kindle revolutionized the world of reading. Jeff and the team believed that books should be available anywhere, anytime. the first device, the first e-store, the first digital bestsellers. All this seemed like a small miracle, but for readers it became a revolution. Every click, every book download, every new user. It was a sign that the dream of a store for everything was no longer limited to physical goods. And then came the moment of true global expansion. Amazon entered European markets, Japan, China, Latin America. Each country had its own rules, its own difficulties, but Jeff's team was not afraid to accept them. Packages flew by plane, by road and by mail. Warehouses were buzzing with the movement of goods, and at the center of it all was the idea: speed, quality, service. The contrast is now incredible. On one side is an old garage with boxes of books. On the other is a global giant serving millions of customers, building the technologies of the future and changing the way we buy, read, and work. It was a time of big risks, huge investments, and unpredictable results. But it was precisely because of the willingness to take responsibility, experiment, and take bold steps that Amazon achieved what previously seemed impossible. A lesson emerges from these events. A global breakthrough always begins with small decisions and faith in one's own dream. Every crisis, every mistake, every day of work without sleep, all these are components of a great success. Jeff and his team have proven, if you are not afraid to take bold steps, the world opens doors that seem insurmountable. And so you see the picture: planes with goods, server rooms, happy customers from all over the world, Kindles in the hands of readers, thousands of employees who turn a dream into reality every day. This is no longer just a story about a startup. It's a story about how a small idea can change the world if it is driven by faith, courage, and hard work. The world has changed, and so has Amazon. When you become a giant, you are surrounded by competitors, critics, and new challenges. Imagine huge meetings, loud discussions, numbers on screens that change every hour, and a team that is looking for a way out of difficult situations. Jeff and his team understood. To remain a leader, you need not only to sell, but also to listen to the world, react to it, and change faster than others. There were scandals with working conditions in warehouses, criticism of pricing policies, threats from regulators. These could have been moments when any startup would have broken under pressure. But Amazon learned to turn problems into opportunities. Every criticism became an excuse to improve processes, every mistake a lesson for the system. Imagine scenes where the team discusses a change plan for a long time, tests new methods, introduces automation to make work safer and more efficient. At the same time, the company continued to innovate, developing Prime, improving logistics, new technologies in the field of delivery, and artificial intelligence. Each challenge became a catalyst for growth. The team understood that stability is a myth, and success depends on the ability to adapt, change, and find bold solutions. Modern crises have reminded us that even a global giant is not immune to difficulties. But Amazon has shown that the strength of a company lies in its culture, in its people, in its ability to see the future where others see only problems. And again, the contrast, from a modest garage with books to a corporation that has managed to withstand criticism, competition, and changes in the global market, while maintaining its mission to serve customers and introduce innovations. This stage taught one important thing: a crisis is not the end, it is the fuel for new ideas. And it is because of these challenges that Amazon has become even stronger, prepared for the future, and laid the foundation for the next stage: a global transformation not only in trade, but also in technologies and services that are changing the lives of people around the world. Today, Amazon is more than just a store. It's a universe of possibilities. Imagine modern warehouses with robots moving between shelves, planes and trucks delivering goods around the world, data centers supporting millions of users, and Kindle devices bringing knowledge to every home. Every day, new ideas are born here, from artificial intelligence to environmental solutions, from robotic delivery to space exploration. The company looks ahead and sets ambitious goals. They want to make people's lives easier, faster, safer, and more interesting. And even despite all the difficulties and criticism, Amazon continues to innovate. Every new technology, every service is a step towards making the world a little better. Imagine a team discussing plans for decades ahead, laughing out loud, arguing, and at the same time bringing incredible ideas to life. And here it is important to understand. The path from garage to global giant is not over. Amazon continues to learn, change, and set itself challenges that recently seemed like fantasy. The contrast between the past and the present is inspiring. From boxes of books on the garage floor to thousands of employees and millions of customers around the world. And even now, when the company is a leader in many markets, it does not stop. The future opens up new horizons, from artificial intelligence to space projects, from environmental initiatives to new services that will change our daily lives. Amazon shows that true success is not just about profits, but the ability to see distant dreams and, step by step, turn them into reality. And as we look at this journey, it becomes clear the story of Amazon is not just about business. It is about human courage, faith in an idea, and the willingness to move forward, even when it seems that all doors are closed. It is a reminder to each of us that big changes begin with small steps and faith in our own dreams.